So welcome, our beloved sister Janice. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
We give
And
thanks.
how are you?
Blessed, highly favored. No complaints. My wife and my children are all very healthy. Yeah, so as always, we begin by acknowledging our creator, our ancestors. We acknowledge all the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We acknowledge all our elders, our community stalwarts, whose shoulders we stand on as we share, build, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So, Janice, please introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers and share a bit about your remarkable work.
Thank you. My name is Janice Bartley, and I am the founder of Foodpreneur Lab. We are a non-for-profit that supports Black food entrepreneurs in the food ecosystem space. And we've created pathways that help remove some of the challenges that exist so that we can be visible and thrive and share our community with others that fosters great communication and engagement.
That's incredible. Congratulations on all the inspiring work and
Thank you.
and all the leaders that you've been able to support over the years that are in this space. I give thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
It's
my
been an
next
honor.
indeed. My next question is what inspires you most about your work?
I see myself in every entrepreneur I come across. And I think that is the gift in itself. And that comes with pros and cons, of course, because I see the strength and I see the drive. I see the frustration and I see the angst and I see the wantonness to be a change maker and the willingness to extend to help others. And really that is who we are, from a humanity lens. And I think that is the beauty of what keeps me going in every conversation. And I'm very present in my conversations with my entrepreneurs and any entrepreneur for that matter, because that listening is a skill and it's very important. And you just never know whose life you change by that one simple act.
Ashe. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. So, what challenges and barriers do you and your colleagues face? And what are some of the approaches that you work towards in terms of overcoming these challenges?
So the number one is always financial. We hear about that, and so we've been in conversation about how can we change that and step away from the norms of perhaps institutional financing and look at alternatives. So one of the conversations I've had is the Susu model, or as we call it, the partner model, right? And we know how strong the story and the legacy behind that, and we are productions of that, actually. Our parents in some way in some way or form have contributed to that model as well, and so that historically has carried down. But on a larger scale, one of the challenges are, and I talk about this all the time, is the other thing is the infrastructure deficit. It's extremely difficult to ask entrepreneurs, and I am addressing this to all sectors as well. It's extremely difficult to ask an entrepreneur and tell an entrepreneur that the opportunity is there to scale, when in fact, when you do the inventory assessment, there's a deficit in terms of infrastructure and resources. So I'm a big advocate of that, of, okay, how do we change that? And in doing that change, how do we advocate to have agency over that? We need to be players in those spaces, and we are not. And so in order for us to, as we say, scale and grow and have wealth, whatever label or title you want to put on it, we have to be committed to that investment model. And so, it's no longer being a participant, but it is now about ownership, innovation, creation. We now have to be at the front and not picking up the slack behind. And so that will require some innovative thinking, and rightly so, because guess what? We are bright. There is no shortage of our talents. We are bright. And so we are at a point now where we can make a significant dent in changing the way things have been going, and create that legacy that we're always talking about. We can do it now. We are at that point.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And in terms of the susu piece, my mother was a susu bank for 40 years, so I always remember
See?
my aunties coming with envelopes and my mother stewarding
Yes.
this for years. And many of these women bought their first cars, paid the down payment for their first homes through models.
Sent the kids to school, bought school uniforms, sent them abroad. I too participated in that because I saw it and I was saying, hey, this was amazing. And it's structured discipline, among the other benefits from it. So
absolutely. And in terms of the Black social infrastructure, just infrastructure in general, to be fully sovereign and to establish our liberty, we need to find ways and means to secure food. Food sovereignty is so important. So when we talk about farm to table, we also need to talk about what you're speaking about, infrastructure, from farm to packaging and manufacturing to distribution. And if we're not end to end in terms of various ecosystems, then we're very vulnerable as a community, and we're not able to express innovation or the entrepreneurial acumen that we know we have because we've built nations. So I agree completely, and I give thanks for your leadership and your pioneering vision and serious work around this ecosystem. So my next question is, how do you feel about the future of foodpreneurs in Canada?
Hey, the future is so bright, it's not funny. I mean, I see the innovation of what foodpreneurs come up with when they present their product and say, hey, I want to bring this to market. And here is the beauty of it. There is such a depth in the Black diaspora. We have just started, we're just tapping in at surface level. Now imagine if we had the infrastructure to scale, which is to innovate, to your point, to grow, to produce, to innovate on development, to package, to distribute, end to end. I cannot even begin to sketch that landscape of what how that would change exponentially, and not from just a capitalistic lens, a charitable lens, which is we will be able to take care of our own. We will be able to ensure that food sovereignty piece. We will be able to ensure that our youth and young mothers and our elders have nutritional sustenance that can carry forward. We tap into our cultural foods and we can expand that. We can't do that right now. So I want people to understand that this is not just about making money. Yes, making money is good because you can do other things, but it is really about the purpose and a holistic approach in solving the problems that are systemic as well, and allowing us to take responsibility for the solutions and not asking others constantly to, what is the solution? We get to solve that because we know what the solutions look like. And that's the piece that makes me really proud because I see it every day.
Ashe. My grandmother used to always say, a problem shared is a problem solved. And when I think about some of the pervasive challenges that we face right now, especially around food, I don't feel it's a how, I feel it's a who and a where. Who are the thought leaders and practitioners that collaborate and build together? And where are the communities of practice or places that are actually providing these innovative models that we can scale and replicate? So once again, I applaud you for your leadership, your candor, and the authentic energy you bring to this work. I give thanks.
Thank you. And, it is a blessing to wake up every day to do this work. I do not take it for granted. It is when you affect people's lives and you can actually track the trajectory of seeing from start to finish. And then the cherry on the top is when they come and they tell you how they've impacted you. For me, that is so gratifying. And it's not to hear somebody said, oh, you've done this. One of the things my team always reminds me is in the business of trying to take everybody where they need to get to, I sometimes forget to pause and look at the work we've done. And every now and again, as I'm struggling up that mountainside, that cliff that I'm trying to scale, because to reference Maya Angelou's phrase that I cling to, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. And I've always used that because that is the sense of responsibility that I carry. And so when I'm reminded by them and say, hey, this person is so grateful because this happened to their life, this opportunity, that is what motivates and carries me each and every day, because it's a hard climb. As you know all too well, when you talk to other Black entrepreneurs or founders, anybody within this ecosystem that is trying to be a change maker and create legacy, it is a hard climb. And to my fellow innovators, mavericks, visionaries, I salute them in our ecosystem as well, because every now and again we get to band together. And through that community, we recharge and we go back out and do the work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And as Maya Angelou said, nothing will work unless you do. And you are doing the work, Janice. So I'm grateful.
Thank you.
I'm grateful.
Thank you.
So my second last question for you is, what is your ultimate goal and what does success look like to you and your colleagues?
So from a participant lens, one of the things that we say is you get to define what success is. So when I talk to, my food entrepreneurs, they tell me, one of the things we talk about is a larger retail store may not necessarily be success for an entrepreneur. It could be just getting a product out to market. But for me, on a larger scale, success is creating that food entrepreneurship space. I do have a very clear vision that provides the support, the education, the opportunities, and the access from end to end. In that vision also is to create opportunities for youth that can come in from an entry level so that they can work in agri-tech. They can see how important food is to our not only legacy, but longevity and their contribution to that as well. Because as far as I'm concerned right now, food is the new currency. You look around global, that is the new currency. You can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have food, it makes no difference. And so I'm hoping that there will be a shift so people understand the intrinsic value of food, not only from a health perspective, but the fact that also it stimulates conversation. It pulls communities together, and it fosters a sense of understanding through not only community, but through difficult conversations, right? And so for that vision for me is to build this space that really addresses the pain points. It removes the pain points, but it does so by fostering partnerships through private and public communities, whether it's funding, whether it's investment, whatever that model is, because we cannot do it individually. It has to be done in partnership with an understanding that it's reciprocal. We all benefit.
Ashe. So my last question, do you have any closing thoughts or call to actions for our listeners and our viewers?
Yes, I would have to say that as community leaders, thought leaders, innovators, our behavior sets an example for youth. And if we talk about that, we have to partner, we have to come together. It can't be performative. We actually have to do it. And we need to be able to point to organizations that do it and show them this is how it's done. Yes, it may be difficult because some of us have different views in terms of how things done, but collectively we are stronger, and we have to show them what the benefit of being united looks like, because we've spent so much time being disenfranchised. We've spent so much time operating from a state of lack that we've either forgotten or neglected to take into consideration what does it look like if we come together and forge our resources to do greater good. That is my parting word, and I really hope we we work on that, because I have grandchildren as well, and I want them to understand and see the significance and importance of what happens when we band together, and not just, oh yeah, we're going to work it. No, when we actually decide, you know what, all for one, one for all.
Ashe, ashe, ashe. Well, I give thanks, Janice, as always, for your visionary
Thank
leadership,
you.
your love,
Thank
and your solidarity. You make our
Thank you so
ancestors.
much.
Thank you. So we're going to close the interview the way we began, by giving thanks to our creator, by also acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We acknowledge all our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we share, build, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. Thank you so much, Janice.
Thank you. I appreciate you.